Welcome back to Randomania, the Final Fantasy Spring Tournament. We've got saltyphry versus Lord Fizzlebeef.
And I know we commentators aren't supposed to be biased, but Lord Fizzlebeef is half of my surviving fantasy bracket, so I, for one, am hoping for a Game 3.
Lord Fizzlebeef is the clear underdog in this match. saltyphry was one of the two runners to make it through brackets and at 5-0, and is a longtime veteran of this community. He is the clear favorite to win today.
Very true, but Lord Fizzlebeef has been very strong throughout the Swiss rounds, and I believe still gave saltyphry a run for his money in the last race.
Indeed, indeed. Let me give you a recap of what has gone down thus far. At level 1, we had Ice 3 as our in the Black Magic shop. Runners took that and used it to take down Garland. The King gave the key. Sarah gave the bridge. Lord Fizzlebeef took a couple of wipes chests out of Locke's Temple of Fiends, while Salty checked the chest in Corneria Castle, was rewarded with 46,000 gold pieces. Also checked the keylock chest in the Dwarf Cave, was rewarded with a mass immune, and has taken both of those finds into a bit of a lead going into this race. Now, Lord Fizzlebeef is by no means out yet. He's just at a bit of a disadvantage here in the volcano. Other notable things, Pirates had Canoe. Runners took that and went to the Old Men where they found the canal. And I didn't catch exactly what saltyphry did, but I know he cleared out both the Elf Keylock chest and the North Castle Keylock chests.
Yeah, I believe Salty found a rod in the Dwarf Cave, which I'm assuming Lord Fizzlebeef is holding off for at least one of the Dwarf Fetch quests to check.
So for spell books, I don't see anything at level 3. There's harm 4 and heal. There's harm 4 at level 3, heal 3 at level 4 on the red mages, and that white mage is Dan. So that gives us a bit of a clue.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a... Yeah, with life at level 2, that seems like a situation where you can afford to ditch your white mage, since the rest of your party can pick that up. And
we'll see when Warp and Exit gets found. Those are your most important spells to figure out if and when you can Dan and how you can route things. But level 5 is about the last time that it really matters.
Yeah, at this stage of things, both runners have seen what all's there. I missed it. Did Lord Fizzlebeef go ahead and clear carry, or did he take a wipe?
I'm not sure. It looks like he's got some levels on him. I think he might have cleared.
Yeah.
Salty is killing a bunch of Agamas with his mass immune. This might pay off.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough, I'm sure. Like, next time Fizzlebeef opens his menu, we will see.
No, he doesn't have the Oxale. He wiped. He had the Oxale earlier.
Oh, yeah, it was one of those things I was kind of trying to catch what saltyphry had on his spell list, so I didn't see what actually took out Lord Fizzlebeef. So, yeah, it definitely is not a good sign.
I talked a little bit to Lord Fizzlebeef before the match. He said his 2 keys for the game were, I quote, do better and do less bad.
That is not the worst strategy in the world. And I do have to agree with Will Bloodworth. This is an amazing match that I am totally not leaning on to supplement my fantasy points.
This is the first good match of 3 good matches today. We have a survival triple header, 3 matches, all 1-0. Runners fighting for their survival. So we've got saltyphry versus Lord Fizzlebeef. Fizzle giving us a look at what's inside the elf castle. Is rewarded with around 12,000 gold pieces and a opal shield. After this match, we have Fuchsia Fantasy versus Edgeworth. Edgeworth up a game in that match in the Red Dragon bracket. That's going to be on Speed Gaming 2. And then following that match at 10 o'clock, also on Speed Gaming 2, we have Arson Horse versus Ikbin Maya. Ikbin Maya down a game is also going to be fighting for his survival. Lots of good Final Fantasy Randomizer for you tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Not to say that you shouldn't stick around until this match is done. Also, I just realized that both of these runners decide to go with the approach of giving their characters names that make fast menuing really confusing.
The white magic spell classic. Salty opting for the more useful white magic spells, with the exception of Exfer. No, don't buy Exfer, people.
Okay. I'm gonna have to dispute you on that one. Exfer is incredibly handy when you do not have enough nuke charges to deal damage.
Exfer cost me the race versus Fuzzy Mage, and started the entire Fuzzy Mage saga.
Yeah. We got Quad X kill on carry, so saltyphry is going to take out his first orb.
Lord Fizzlebeef making his way up to the castle. Let's see if he goes all the way up to dwarves and he picks up his Massmune. And when he finds his Massmune, he's going to know that he's behind.
Now that might work out in his favor, because, you know, what helped Fizzlebeef in the play-in match about a week or so back, was getting into a situation where he knew he was behind, and just putting pedal to the metal. Now, in these flags, that's a little bit of a disadvantage, just because you do have to keep checking chests for key items. But Lord Fizzlebeef has the advantage of, he's going to know where some of those key items are. And he's got Hooray Dwarf's Blessing, so that's 2 things working in his favor.
Saltyphry, is this the Crescent Lake, or is this Provoca? My guess is he went to Provoca to restock, or Crescent Lake. There he is. Can he get some armor here? There's some silver mail, there's a chainmail. I'm sure he already has the chainmail. Maybe he doesn't. No, picking up some silver mail. That's good. Going into Ice Cave with armor is a major, major boon. There is Lord Fizzlebeef picking up his Massmune, and while he's happy to see that, he can't be happy to see that.
Yeah, he is definitely at a disadvantage, but, again, like I said, having that knowledge that his opponent is most certainly ahead of him, that's going to get Lord Fizzlebeef making some decisions that he otherwise might not have made.
Might we see a marsh dive?
It's entirely possible. Like I said, Lord Fizzlebeef has tremendous comeback potential. You know, when he goes all out, he can definitely just tear through things and take some risks that he might otherwise make that pay off. Like, for example, going ahead and checking Keylok Topher.
Meanwhile, saltyphry is once again grinding, is already level 15. Taking down some peds. Wonder what he's grinding for. Whatever was an Ice Cave must have given him quite the scare.
Yeah, level 15, that's gonna give him some pretty good firepower. It's also, I think... Oh! That is a Ribbon and Keylock Temple of Fiends.
Is that the key for Lord Fizzlebeef to get through the Ice Cave?
I mean, I can't say that it might not be. Like, this early on, a Ribbon is huge, because... Sorry. A ribbon is huge because you don't have the magic defense you'd like to. That would make it easy to shrug off some of the worst things. I'm guessing Lord Fizzlebeef just checked the first chest earlier. I can't see why he wouldn't not go back to that corner.
Salty decides to fry this pack of undead in the ice cave. Just entering. We know something's bad in here. Let's find out what it is. Fizzlebeef, remembering to check the money chest in Corneria, finds the stack of money. I bet you he wishes that he would have picked this up sooner. Salty Fry getting away from some wizards, making it down to the second floor. Gets ambushed, gets paralyzed, gets stoned.
Okay,
paralyzed.
I think we have our answer to what Salty did not want to deal with here in the cave.
Does Salty have softs?
I mean, there's no reason not to have them. Like, Stone Touch can turn up anywhere, as can various stone causing problems. Yeah, the fact it's Stone Touch, that makes that ribbon a little less valuable.
Ribbon blocks Stone Touch. There's still the off chance, but ribbon will reduce the chance of being stoned.
I thought that all touch abilities were considered non-elemental.
The only touch ability that's non-elemental is Death Touch. Everything else hits at like an accuracy of 100. And these runners won't be crossing the 100 magic defense threshold until around level 29 on your fighter, and even more on all of your other characters.
So that ribbon is actually going to be a factor. Now, the only thing is, you got to get out of the fight in order to be able to patch up all of that stoning.
You do, and that combination Stun Touch, Stone Touch combo from the race and the images is probably what scared him away at the jump. Does not check the mage chest. I wonder if he got down to the mage chest on the previous run.
Considering what we're seeing out of the encounter table, that seems really likely. Now, fortunately for Salty, he is on a floor at this point where he has... The encounters are a little more mixed up, so you're less likely to see those wraiths or images.
On the other hand, he does find an unrunnable frost dragon, dumping some fire threes, 2 fire threes and a mass immune hit before it goes down. He's gonna have to take 2 more of those on this dive.
I mean, he may have already checked those chests.
Let's see what the 6th chest room has. Pure, a few coins, a cabin, a few more coins, frost wolves.
At least those are runnable. But yeah, judging by the way Salty's routed this so far, there probably was nothing in the Mage or Frost D chests, and that's probably where he got to before disaster struck. Lord Fizzlebeef, in the meantime, is about to discover just how rude this ice cave is going to be.
And a Salty Fry getting rewarded with a Pro Cape and a Mage Staff. Finding a Mage Staff in the ice cave is quite a nice find.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with him shuffling it onto his top red mage, but I mean, he also is way better at this game than I am, so he has a plan.
Opting to run from the mages, is up on the 3rd floor. Finds a Zeus Bonk. Both of those are excellent finds in this particular situation.
Yeah, like, those group attack abilities, especially with wizard packs being in the mix. Our tracker, Rainbow Poogle, meanwhile, is sitting in chat praying for disaster.
Yeah, Ship Seed will open the world up. If you have a floater, you can go anywhere. If you have a ship, you can go anywhere very slowly.
Now, one thing that's in Lord Fizzlebeef's favor, and I don't think saltyphry has this on his side. Lord Fizzlebeef, oh, he didn't pick up any softs! Oh no!
He had all of the money, he went to the item shop, he did not buy softs.
See, that hurts, because he's gonna press on, though. He is feeling behind, and he's got the Harm 4 firepower to clear through those fights.
On Salty's side, we see the eye guarding the crystal. Salty decides to take an extra eye fight as well. We'll see how much he grinds here. A lot of runners are as they progress through the game.
Yeah, like, it's one of those things, around 17 or 18, which is, let's see, I think Salty's sitting at around 15 or 16 right now, but, 17 or 18, that's usually the point where you start looking at how prepared you feel for Topher.
I think he's happily running a three-man strategy, and usually three-man strategies like to go in at 22 to 24, especially with the Maspune. You can take some extra fights, get in at 24, and know that you're going to be able to get that extra hit off on Chaos.
Yeah, I don't think either of our runners have Exit or Warp available, so Salty is going to have to make the loop back through. And all it's going to take is an ambush out of these wraiths or images, and Salty could be in some serious danger.
Yeah, however, every level that he gets a few more magic defense and a little bit better chance of getting away.
Lord Fizzlebeef, though, is continuing this two-man journey into the depths of the ice cave.
Runs into unrunnable frost dragons, misses with the Maspune, but the Quad X gets him. These have fewer than 300 health.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Lord Fizzlebeef is checking both of these chests, given the situation he's in. I mean,
he has to.
Yeah, he has to.
Guys have poison? Guys have stone poison?
Oh no! Oh no!
The image misses. Harm 4 goes off, all of the undead go down, saltyphry gets back up. Narrowly escapes.
Yeah, but where is he in this encounter table? And how many more of these fights is he going to have to make it through to get out of here? Oh, he gets a good run there.
Fizzle going to take down these frost wolves. Clever move here. Decides to pick the chest. It's going to give him a mage stick, and that might make the difference between on this frost wolf fight. If he decides to use the mage stick, it'll clear out this pack.
Yeah, he's got plenty of shots of other spells on that red mage, so he can just mage staff and go.
And saltyphry is out of the ice cave, has cleared the first two sizable dungeons after the Temple of Fiends Garland Rush, and is moving on, is likely going to go straight to Matoya and turn in the crystal, and we'll get a chance to see what Matoya has today.
Absolutely. And question chat, what did you miss? One of the rudest ice caves I've ever seen. There's what, two different sources of stone and a couple of sources of stun on top of that.
Images have stone touch. Guys have stone poison. Frost dragons are unrunnable and with a decently high evade. Lord Fizzlebeef getting another set of them and is looking at what to do while saltyphry makes his way back to Matoya. So to give you a recap of quest items, the king had the key. The key gave you a giant stack of cash from Corneria and the Maspune from the dwarves. Sara had the bridge, which led to Bicky with the canoe. The 8 old men had the canal. Inside of the dwarf cave, you also found the rod. Inside the volcano armory, you found the oxale. The ice incentive chest was the crystal. saltyphry is going to take the is going back towards the witch Matoya presently. Lord Fizzlebeef has had a bit of a rough start. Got the key, did not check Corneria chests, did not check Dwarf Cave chests, went to try to go to Topher and wiped a couple of times, and then went straight on to Provoca, and then took another wipe in the volcano. saltyphry has a commanding lead here on Randomania.
Yeah, saltyphry definitely has an advantage right now, but it's not, I would say, an insurmountable one. Lord Fizzlebeef still needs to go back and do Volcano, but he knows where everything of worth in Volcano is at this stage. So he just has to get out of this ice cave, which, with that Zeus Gauntlet and that Mage Staff now, he's got the ammunition to do it. He just has to drag these two characters through, which, he's got plenty of charges. He's still got that ribbon, which is something Salty has yet to pick up, although that's about to change.
And it looks like the Matoya had the vanilla herb. Fizzle gets away from the geese, may get out of Ice Cave with just 2 characters.
Yeah, he is going to have one of the beefiest white mages that we've ever seen in this tournament. If he can make it out of here. Knock on wood.
Chance to strike first. He's almost out. saltyphry picking up his ribbon and keylocked over. He didn't do this before. Picks up his ribbon. Lord Fizzlebeef has the ribbon, which gives him a lot of stability on the way out of here. It gives him near immunity to these stonings and the stun touches. Not quite. You always have the chance to go through the ribbon, but it's quite rare.
Yeah, I mean, on the downside, the ribbon doesn't make the wearer able to take a punch better, but Lord Fizzlebeef makes it out of the ice cave in a heroic... he had 2 characters from, the mage chest on, just about. That was a hero run. Major boon for Lord Fizzlebeef to make it out of there alive. Joining us in chat is Will Cleosis and Will Bloodworth, also known as the Willuminati. If you want to check out a great triple header yesterday, Fuzzy Mage versus versus Bismarck. Triple header went late into the morning. They had 2 matches on schedule. After the second match they split 1-1 after the second match. Immediately a gauntlet was thrown down for a rematch run game 3. And both Wills commentated that until the early morning. Quite the barn burner of a set of races. Check that out from Randomania if you have a chance. But today we have some excellent matches for you all day. saltyphry making it into the Elf Kingdom and is going to wake up the prince and gets rewarded with the floater. So that ice cave required for progression. Good grief. Go ahead.
The winner of this match, saltyphry versus Lord Fizzlebeef, will take on Broadster in the round of 8 to find out who the champion of, the Zombie Dragon bracket, I believe?
You would know better than I would, I'm going to be honest. Oh, did Poogle roll this seed?
This is a Poogle seed. No, this is for Gas Dragon bracket. Sorry, leading you wrong. Salty, with the airship, is going to check out what Sarda has for us today.
Yeah, at whatever time we are at, actually, we are looking at our first chance to see what's outside that southern continent area.
saltyphry picking up his crown from Sarda. Looks like he is going to Helmand. Decides to spare the innocent people of Melmond. Are you a fan of smashing or sparing Melmond?
I mean, these people already have to live in Melmond. Why would you want to do anything else to them?
Warp and Nuke available at Melmond. So Nuke being found, I think they need to be red wizards to learn that Nuke, but it will come along. Pro Rings available for 5,100. Has plenty of money.
Yeah, I think at this point Lord Fizzlebeef is just going to drag his 2 statues back to Corneria and call it good. Yeah, all things considered, Lord Fizzlebeef is not that far behind. He is basically a go mode volcano away from being where saltyphry is at this stage.
He's going to follow this to its conclusion and get the floater maybe 4 minutes behind Salty. Not bad, not bad. If he can hold it to within a single Topher wipe, he's still in this race. And saltyphry getting bonked with the ship after following the Sarda crown chain.
Yeah, unfortunately not saving before heading in here because it's Astos and you're level 16 or so, and you have the Mosmune, you don't need to save. But you know, he probably would have wanted to reset out of there if he could. Question in chat, where did Fizzlebeef wipe in Volcano? As far as we're aware, something took out his thief when he only had 3 party members up to begin with, and he just reset out. So it's one of those things, he was more than capable of taking out Carrie on that first trip. Well, will definitely be now that he has the Mosmune in hand.
Second ribbon located on Salty Stream and the Cardia Isles. Both runners should be picking up that second ribbon here before too long.
Absolutely, and you know, again, it's one of those things like, I don't know where I was going with that sentence, but yeah. Long story short, though, you know, Fizzlebeef, especially now that he's got those pretty well-leveled White Mage and Red Mage, I mean, I think they're sitting around level 14 or 15 now, he shouldn't have any trouble go-moding Volcano.
saltyphry picking up an opal armor, which is a great piece of armor from the Cardia. Has one more Cardia hole to dig out. I wonder what he does next. Does he go to an incentive dungeon? He's got the entire sea shrine available. He can go up to the waterfall. There also is the missing vendor item, which they haven't located yet.
I would argue that Salty's probably going to make a move on Ordeals, and that's exactly what he's doing. That seems to be the popular play once you have the airship. It's a dungeon that you can dive relatively early. You know, if you usually have a sense of what you're going to run into before you get there, because most of the enemies you'll run into somewhere else in the game.
And at the 51-minute mark, Lord Fizzlebeef is airborne, going straight to Sarda. I'm going to get baited by this here crown.
Better to go ahead and know that it's worth hunting through chests for the ship. Or it's worth hunting through chests because the ship's out of the way. But yeah, it's definitely a situation. The Ordeals play's been pretty popular among runners just because it's, you know, what's the phrase I'm looking for here? Like I said, it's a quick dungeon. It's easy. You know, if anything nasty's in there, you generally know about it ahead of time because you're going to see those mummies, or you can see those mummies in Northwest Castle. You can see the zombies all over the place. It's a move I like, and you get some easy chests and an incentive item.
It's easy, and you probably have to do it, so do it soon. Get it out of your way. And by probably have to do it, what I really mean is it's probably better to go to ordeals before, like, clearing out some of these larger dungeons, like the Earth Cave, like the Sky Castle, and like the Sea Shrine. Because if you can go mode them, you save lots of time.
Yeah, so Lord Fizzlebeef making this dive back in Volcano, he's probably only going to collect the chests that matter.
saltyphry making it through the pillar maze. Didn't take too long this time. Fizzlebeef going straight for the Oxale.
Yeah, and I'll be surprised if he... Like, I don't recall seeing anything else in Volcano. Like, there's some stuff down the Agma floor, I think, that he might want to dig out, but overall, I think this is literally grab the Oxyel, go kill Carrie.
Yeah, the stream was having troubles right around they were going through the volcano. saltyphry gets rewarded from ordeals with the chime. We'll need the cube, and then we'll be able to full clear the Mirage Sky combination.
Now, the question is, you know, do you at least dip into that first floor of Mirage while you're in the neighborhood? You've got the chime, it's right there. You don't necessarily want to go up to greater than, less than, but it's a relatively quick check. You might pick up, you know, another level or so just clearing that first floor out.
I don't like to play unless you have the access to leave greater than, less than. I don't like going for just the first set of chests, especially when you know you can do other things. If you're still looking for things to make you strong enough to take on other dungeons, then I think about going up to Mirage. But I think Salty feels pretty good that he can pretty much go wherever he wants in the game. He just needs to find the proper items. Checks the bazaar, does not find the missing vendor item.
Alright, Salty is heading for the on-rack area. This place, as you may well know, is a hole.
There is the opal bracelet in lower volcano on Fizzlebeef's stream. I'm sure both of our runners have already found that. Also picked up a flame armor.
And we have TNT as the vendor item in on-rack.
So, previously it used to be conventional wisdom that you only want to make this trip once. Do both the waterfall and the sea shrine together. But with these new flags, frequently you're turning in fetch quests to find out if you are in go mode. How many items away from go mode are we?
Well, according to our tracker, we are still missing 2 items that are in chests somewhere in the world. There are 4 that will be shuffled to chests, based on the flags that we're using. As it stands, we are still lacking the cube, we're still lacking the loot, both of which are required to access the Sky Castle and the Temple of Fiends Revisited, respectively. Other than that, I actually think we have everything we need to gain access to the remaining dungeons. It's just a matter of tracking those 2 items down.
We are getting closer and closer to not finding a tail before we are in go mode.
Now, with that Mosmune in hand and no sign of dragon armor, it's not the worst position to be in.
No, I would be rather comfortable going into Topher unpromoted with this particular party.
Yeah, and with those 2 ribbons, basically, well, one of them wasn't in the runner's path, but it became in both runner's path, and the second ribbon being a chest that they're almost certainly going to check, if not before the end of the game. And there's
Carry casting Lit 2. I don't see a weapon on Lord Fizzlebeef's fighter, and I don't know where his Massmune is. I know he has a Massmune.
It's on the White Mage. I don't think he ever bothered to move it off of his White Mage. He might not remember that he has it on his White Mage, but he has it on his White Mage.
Carry not being friendly. This 1 damage from the fighter feels pretty awkward.
Yeah,
What did the robot have? I missed it.
He has the loot. So we have Topher access now. So at this point, it is a grand hunt for the cube.
So in this situation, I drop a save point close to on-rack, and then I go turn in that TNT to find out if I'm in go mode. Lord Fizzlebeef makes it through carry, lights his fire orb, has his first orb lit at the 58-minute mark. Chest cube?
I think Will Bloodworth is calling for the cube to be located in a chest.
Lord Fizzlebeef getting in his airship. Let's see if he gets his second ribbon at the Cardi Isles. Turning around. Where's he off to?
Probably. Alright, he is heading back to Corneria to, I think, stock up on supplies.
Always remember to buy your heal potions after the volcano. You are always low on heal potions after the volcano. Unless you have level 1 heal 3, in which case you're fine.
saltyphry making his expedition into the Sea Shrine. He's going to grab this chest on the left side of the first floor and then probably just make a dive for Kraken.
We're not going to see if the Red Sahags have anything fierce on this fight, but you never know. Sometimes they can be quite the trolly enemy.
Yeah, the one nice thing about that Sahag pack never being runnable is that they also can never be ambushers. Oh, and Catmen have Squint. That's good to know.
The first sighting of lobsters, the notorious lobsters. But we get the jump on them. But these ghosts get an ambush. That is not an enemy you want to see ambush, and the fighter is already down.
This is definitely... You know, we don't usually get to see Harm 4 do work in these seeds, so, you know, it's good to see the seed forcing our runners to give it some love.
Lord Fizzlebeef ending up taking on some overworld encounters. saltyphry has been very diligent to manipulate the encounter table and never take any overworld encounters.
Yeah, I imagine that Fizzlebeef is trying to get a little extra experience on that fighter and thief. Because you'll recall, they were very decorative for most of Ice Cave on Fizzlebeef's side.
So, on Fizzlebeef's side, we have a bit of a disparity in levels between the mages and the fighters. We have level 11 fighter thief and level 17 red mage to white mage. That's not exactly the setup, the distribution of experience that you want.
I mean, yes and no, because that does give Lord Fizzlebeef a lot of insurance for diving into Temple of Fiends Revisited, and that is a power bonk in one of the free chests in Sea Shrine. You know, both of these runners very likely to dig out most of the chests in Sea Shrine eventually, although, I don't know, did Salty actually bother checking much? Well, actually, there aren't any chests on the...
And an adamant in Sea Shrine.
Well, it's probably for the best that he held off on that TNT check. He can now check 2 spots. And our tracker making an excellent point. That adamant is considered a key item, so it is now also off the table in terms of what can be in chests.
saltyphry go-moding the rest of C. There is still a world in which case he's leaving the key item behind in lower Sea Shrine. We'll see if he gets punished for this.
I mean, it's one of those things. I have to wonder if that setback in Ice Cave the first time makes him think that Lord Fizzlebeef's gotten ahead, and so he's taking this calculated gamble and saying, I can go check 2 incentive spots as soon as I get done here. I only need 1 more item that's in that pool. I'm going to go try and see if I can get that cube from the dwarves and just go mode the rest of the game.
We've seen a number of seeds be decided because a runner either doesn't realize they're in go mode when they are, or they think they're in go mode when they're not. Let's hope that Salty doesn't make a game-losing mistake here.
Once again, I would point out that I wouldn't necessarily complain. For his sake, I hope that this is a nice, friendly, good match, but if saltyphry were to lose this match, I do have a fantasy bracket that, you know, would appreciate it.
Kraken shows up and quickly gets knocked down by a bunch of damage.
Yeah, question in chat. We are still looking... Of the key items, we still do not know where the tail is, the cube is, the slab is still MIA, and I believe the ruby is also in the pool and missing.
Saltyphry going directly to Dwarf Cave to turn in both of these items. Let's see what we get. Adamant is first, and we have a bottle. Fetch Quest Paradise.
Yep, that opens up the ferry as another option.
And at Narek, we have a cube. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in go mode. So you are still short a tail. Do you go turn in the go get the ferry to check if it can be a tail?
I think given their current equipment situation, especially on saltyphry's side running that 3-man strategy, I think the only reason he'll go turn a tail is if he wants to get those life casts on his fighter and those nuke casts on his red wizards.
Nuke is really nice. I'm not gonna lie, I like having Nuke. It's a great spell. One of my favorites.
And I think it also comes down to how much time Salty feels like he has to spare. Again, he did have to reset out of Ice Cave and revisit it. And he has no way of knowing that his opponent had to crawl through Ice Cave with a white mage and a red mage.
He's going up in that direction. Looks like he's bypassing Mirage. And we have a bottle check. We'll get to see what the fairy has for us today.
Yeah, I don't dislike this move. I do think, like, if, you know, it's a nice quick-ish check. And if it does turn out that you get the tail out of this, then you're golden. If you don't, then you know that the tail is probably behind the slab, or the slab turn-in Lefane. Or
that's not what you want to see.
Well, okay. It depends on if you do want that tail, because if we'd gotten the three things we could have gotten were the ruby, the slab, or the tail.
He decides to not continue on the goose chase and opts for Mirage. I like this play. You're going to be in the Earth Cave area after a bit. Maybe you turn in the slab. Maybe you don't even check. Who knows? You really want to get into Topher as quickly as possible. Chimera's managed to stone the Red Wizard. Saltyphry not even bothering to check chess on floor 1. He is go. I think that he'll be going straight to Tiamat.
And it's looking like he's going to keep that red mage stoned. Possibly thinking, well, I've got ribbons on these other two characters. I can get... The one who's stoned has enough levels to be useful. Let's rack up some extra experience and call it good.
Well, we're going to be able to get some new information from Lord Fizzlebeef here. Looks like we're heading directly to the mermaids. Maybe we'll get a phone number today.
I'm not liking our odds on that. Unfortunately, though, this means that Lord Fizzlebeef is, you know, longer and longer not in go mode compared to Salty. But again, the only I'm trying to come up with the words I want here. Basically, though, Lord Fizzlebeef is at a point where he needs Temple of Fiends Revisited to be a problem for a three-man formation.
He needs saltyphry to wipe at least once, and with this mermaid checks, I think he's into the 2-wipe territory.
Which we've seen happen in this tournament. You know, it's one of those things that the phrase Great Equalizer gets thrown a lot with regard to Temple of Fiends Revisited, and it is a very reasonable thing to say about it. It's a dungeon that you can very easily lose 15 minutes compared to an opponent in just because, you know, they see things from enemies that you don't, and you see things that they don't. And the end result is just like, you know, a fight that took you 2 minutes to get through, you know, they were through in 5 seconds because they just happened to get initiative.
So, Salty is doing something interesting and probably rather useful here. I would like to see this happen with a weapon on the Red Mage, but he is leaving his character known as Soft, stoned, ironically, 2-manning Sky. This will likely get his fighter up to level 24 into Topher. Also gets a few extra HP on one of the 2 red mages. That can help put you up over a threshold to survive a nuke.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the stoned red mage, he's got enough health to where he'll generally survive a nuke or a nuclear. Which is really all you want out of a mage, especially with the spell list we've seen.
Alright, Lord Fizzlebeef being kind of creepy. Just putting his face inside of a door, looking at a mermaid, and then just promptly leaving. You can't do that. You gotta at least say hi.
Well, it's one of those things, you know, the man's got a mission, and that mission involves chests.
saltyphry taking the greed chest on Sky 3. Got warp charges, knows he can reset cleanly. Lord Fizzlebeef finding a gold bracelet. Well, we are about ready to be on Sky 4. You know what that means, chat. Get your bless RNGs out.
Yeah, no, we are, you know, probably a minute or 2 away from having that chance at a war mech.
The mermaid chests are not very rewarding today, it looks like.
Yeah, that gold bracelet's just about the only thing of value that Lord Fizzlebeef found, but, you know, that is still pretty decent armor, and I don't actually know if saltyphry's armor situation's much better.
saltyphry making it up to level 23 on his knight, 1 level away from that magical 5-hit moment with a mass immune. Runs into a pack of airs. Fizzlebeef taking on some sharks on the right side of your screen. Gets ambushed by some sentries. Decides to take this fight. Sometimes these are more trouble than they're worth. Ice 3 goes out, and the sentry goes down. Chat, I need to reprimand all of you. The Bridge of Destiny is for Warmech Bless RNGs. I see 2 looking for nachos, and someone, I think it's my esteemed companion here, looking for red hydras. Who looks for red hydras?
Okay, red hydras are some of the most underrated pain-in-the-butt enemies in this entire randomizer.
And now we have somebody looking for slimes? I'm disappointed in all of you. All of you.
Unrunnable slimes are also a pain in the butt. And I've seen it happen a few times.
Salty almost across the Bridge of Destiny, runs into a couple of airs. Slimes are not unrunnable, and saltyphry decides to take this fight.
They're good experience.
They have trance, though. That is not something you want to see. Because Trance is one of the few status attacks that pierces ribbons.
And as a group attack, it's just not very friendly at all.
They follow up the Trance with Frost. It's slowly whittling away. That soft that has been stoned the entire time finally becomes unstoned. Is almost dead. Oh, and the fighter gets Trance. No Mage Stick's going to come out this time. These slimes are nasty. Fire 3 resolves and the slimes go down.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a fight. Yeah, I think he unstoned Soft when he got to the teleporter floor.
And I believe here in just a moment we will be checking in to see what Tiamat has.
Yeah, I imagine that with these levels and Mazmune in hand, Salty's not going to have too much to worry about from Tiamat.
Size the power bonk on the first turn. You know, one thing that happens, he does have the defense, so that should help out significantly as you go deep into Topher. Not having the defense, sometimes the power bonk isn't enough to kill enemies fast enough. Lord Fizzlebeef picking up his adamant out of Sea Shrine. Let's see if he decides to go mode this next floor and just bank on the Zonk not being one of his two items.
Yeah, I think Lord Fizzlebeef is going to stick with it. He's got a Thief in hand. If he can class change, he would like to class change.
Picks up an Ice Armor, already has an Ice Shield. That's a bit of a misplay. Both the Flame and the Ice Armor have the same stats, so you want to alternate them if you can for the elemental resistances. I wasn't paying attention to what Tiamat had, but she's already dead, so I'm not going to worry about it. And we're off to Lich.
Yeah, Alligator Brap in chat making the excellent point that Lord Fizzlebeef has not made the trip to Waterfall yet, so he's still lacking a loot.
Ah. saltyphry deciding to turn in the slab.
Well, again, he has the ability to potentially get that class change, turning in the slab. At this point, it's a 50-50 shot whether the tail is that last NPC item, or if the ruby is the last NPC item. And so it's one of those things, if he does have the opportunity to get that tail. Ooh, but Lord Fizzlebeef does find a white shirt here in the back chest of Sharknado Room, which is not one of the chests that saltyphry checked, having go-moded this whole floor.
I don't know if saltyphry has access to Invis 2. Just that defense sword as a source of evade. He might not be able to keep his red mages up through Temple of Fiends. That having been said, we've all seen fighters been able to man mode the end of the dungeon before, and Salty certainly has everything he needs to do that.
Yeah, the big advantage, though, of having that Invis 2 access is when you are dealing with something that you need that massive amount of evasion for, having the ability to layer Ruse and Invis 2 in the same turn on that fighter means you're 2 turns away from being more or less untouchable on that fighter, as opposed to needing 3 turns to get it set up using just Ruse.
Sometimes bosses open with attacks and then switch to spells after you get your Ruse stacks up. Sometimes they do the opposite, and they're kind enough to cast Ink as you buff and buff and buff and buff. And sometimes they just cast Nuke and ruin your day. It doesn't really matter when they cast Nuke, it always ruins your day.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those things, like, saltyphry definitely has an advantage, but if this Topher turns out to be very physical, that white shirt may come into play. it's definitely going, like, Lord Fizzlebeef's definitely going to still need a lot of help from Topher, but that is definitely something that can potentially get him back into this if saltyphry runs into a roadblock.
saltyphry is already on Earth's floor. Lord Fizzlebeef is going to be taking down Kraken in just a moment. saltyphry is going to be lighting his fourth orb just behind that. Lord Fizzlebeef is preparing, moving his characters around, puts his red mage in front. Ice 3. No. Ice 3. Power bonk.
And throwing that white shirt up, and whoa! That was a hit from Kraken.
Kraken does what Kraken does, and it takes out one of your party members. This is normal. Thief doing 2 hits for 20 damage. Thank you, Thief, for being important.
And see, that's the white shirt right there. You know, the other advantage Lord Fizzlebeef is looking at is he is way less concerned about levels at this point. Just because he does not have to worry about tanking through hits. Although he better tank through this next hit.
But it looks like Hit does his job, puts down Kraken, and in the time that it takes to put down Kraken, saltyphry is already out of the Earth Cave, stocking up on heal potions, and about ready to enter into Temple of Fiends for the first time, revisited for the first time.
Yeah, Lord Fizzlebeef making the intelligent decision and making sure he's healed up before taking those last 2 steps. Remember, you can still get into fights after you take a Fiend out.
Some people mentioning that this game is already over, that we still have to get through Topher. We do not know what Topher has, and it is known as the Great Equalizer. If you ask High Spirits, he might more call it the Crusher of Dreams.
Yeah, so it's definitely, like, saltyphry definitely has a massive advantage, but if Topher presents any sort of an obstacle, he could be in some trouble.
saltyphry declining the class change, I think that is the proper move in this scenario. If you really need to class change, you'll get walled and Topher, and then you've already got the slab translated. You can go up to Leffine, see what it has, but I am plenty happy with this move at present. That worm does not like the white mage.
Yeah, and chat pointing out Salty did grab Invis 2 for his white mage and has his white mage up as well. So, you know, it's definitely a situation Salty is planning for the possibility of needing to Invis 2. But with that white mage only level 9, he's not going to get a lot of shots of Invis 2.
Salty looks to be taking some fights. Is he level 24 yet? Is he still looking for that last level to get to the extra hit on his fighter?
It's entirely possible. I can't think of any other reason you'd be taking these fights at this point.
And Fizzlebeef making his way into the volcano. He found some nightmares. He will be picking up his loot in just a moment.
Yeah, and just to confirm for the question chat, Tail and Ruby are our remaining items at large. We have not checked Lefane, so we don't know which one is the remaining chest item.
There is one outstanding box, and the adamant led to a bottle, the bottle led to a slab. Salty opted to not complete the slab quest line to find out what that was. Was in go mode and is already in Temple of Fiends, looking to take down Chaos. We might have a sub 130 here tonight. Lord Fizzlebeef seeing Out of Bounds Bat on his way out of the waterfall. Hi, Out of Bounds Bat.
Clearly, Lord Fizzlebeef is the real winner here.
Everybody's got Lord Fizzlebeef gets a half a point on their fantasy bracket.
Yes! Look, I'm just wanting him to see War Mech before saltyphry finishes.
Maybe you can convince him to just grind T-Rexes.
I'm pretty sure if I convince him of anything, that is a violation of basically everything we're trying to do here.
There's no gambling in sports. What do you mean? Saltyphry, Ice Thing a Chimera Pack. Get some good damage rolls. Ice 3, the one spell that can do more damage to a nuke than a nuke against ice vulnerable enemies. You see there the 410 coming out. Saltyphry already on the earth floor. An hour and 23 minutes in. Stops to heal before Lich. Let's see what Lich has today.
Yeah. You know, it's one of those things. Stopping to heal before a Lich is sometimes something you'll see some people skip out on because it's Lich. But, you know, those are always the times when Lich demands respect.
Lich sometimes demands respect, but he doesn't get it. He just doesn't get it. And Lich goes down. I think it wasn't important. lordfizzlebeef turns in his quest items, and I think this puts him into go mode. He got his loot out of the waterfall. Should have gotten his cube from the TNT turn-in. Checking spells at Melmond. Saltyphry taking on some fires, getting away. Stops to prepare before carry. Let's see if he brings his white mage back now.
I doubt we'll see that white mage on his feet before we... Never mind.
There he is. lordfizzlebeef goes straight to Earth Cave. Skips the chest. Looks like he's also in go mode. Carry fight initiated. White mage is in front. Power Bonk goes out. It looks like we're going to take 2 turns. A couple of Ice 3s queued up in a black shirt. Lit 2 comes out. Does minimal damage.
Yeah, it's a situation, I think, personally, I would have left that white mage down unless you're trying to get a little more health on him before you get to Kraken 2. Just because you're generally not going to need that invis shot on carry. And that's the main thing I think this white mage is good for Saltyphry.
Erase. Quad X comes out from Saltyphry and carry goes down. I don't think that carry had very much HP. Fizzlebeef running into some images. Let's see if he gets stoned again today. No, Contour comes out.
Yeah, nah, he's got everything he needs to not worry about it. He has not been to Cardia Islands, though, I just realized. He's still working with just the one ribbon.
On the water floor, Saltyphry, Ice 3ing some waters, getting up to level 25 on his fighter. He's going to have a beefy fighter going into this final set of trio. We're about ready to face Kraken 2, what is known as the first of 3 gatekeepers.
Yeah, the big danger right now is he's still working, I think, with flame armor and an ice shield on that fighter. So he is not nearly as resilient as you would like to be facing off against Kraken 2.
That's the best you can hope to find on your fighter, though, and usually that's enough. It initiates the Kraken fight. Ops to the black shirt and a power bonk. No defenses coming out. Stun misses. Ice 3 comes out 91 damage. Black shirt 65 damage. Ice 3 comes out 92 in the power bonk. We've got a nice little constructive first turn. Let's see if Kraken does something else. Fire 3 shouldn't put any of his party down. The white mage is low on health. More Ice 3s, 70 damage. 93, another black shirt, 71. Lots of chip damage. The fighter has not swung his first sword yet.
Well, that's about to change.
963 damage from Kraken onto the White Mage. White Mage, you have done your job. 731 damage. The fighter strikes back and terminated.
Yeah, that was a bit of a risky play, because if that Kraken had reached out to touch that fighter, that probably would have taken the fighter down too. Like, yeah, the White Mage doesn't have that much in the way of absorb, but Kraken has a way of just ignoring your armor anyway.
Salty taking some shots from the seafood party back. Runs into the Twilight Cosplay Club. Is this an ambush? Takes some damage, but he should be just fine. Opts to harm for them down. Vampires have a bit of HP. They all survive the first charge of harm 4. The second one should wipe them out. Fizzlebeef has cleared the Earth Cave, has 3 orbs lit, is making his way straight to the sky. I think he's more than 1 Topher White behind. Let's see what Tiamat has. It is saltyphry's race to loot.
Yeah, now this is definitely saltyphry in a strong position. This Tiamat would pretty much need to one-shot Salty's fighter to make this a risk at this point.
Lordfizzlebeef is eating some steak as Crack comes out, puts down the White Mage. The other 3 survive. Ice 3 comes out, 36 damage. Power Bomb. Salty not using the defense sword. If he gets hit hard, this could be curtains. Ice 3 comes out again, 66 damage. Another one, 35 damage. 163 damage on 4 hits. It looks like this fighter is strong enough. We'll see if this Tiamat has anything else to bring to the table. He opts to heal 3, wants to heal some of that damage. Sword comes out, 360 damage on the Tiamat. 197 damage from a melee hit. That Tiamat is going for the fighter, down to 90 HP. Quad X misses. This Quad X is going to miss. Another hit comes out, 644 damage, terminated, gets through. Salty is on to Chaos.
Yeah, and Salty, needs to play this more conservatively with Chaos. Chaos is going to have enough health and enough resistance to anything that he has in his spell book, where if that fighter goes down, it puts saltyphry in a very bad position.
I think we'll see him using the defense sword against Chaos. I don't think he plays Chaos the same way as he plays the other 2 fiends.
Yeah, I would imagine he will as well, but it is definitely something to keep in mind.
A level 25 fighter, over 550 HP. It takes a lot to bring him down. I think after that Kraken hit, Kraken might have been able to do it. But the Kraken opts for the Dan. That's why you res your Dans in the first place for that fight. Chaos initiated in the hour and 30-minute mark. Let's see what Chaos has for us today.
Defense Sword coming out, and I think we saw an Invis 2 cast from Xfer, so, definitely getting that defense out. Never mind. Chaos just goes ahead and plasters the White Mage. Salty's is going to have to keep layering that defense sword.
Fire 3's coming out from Salty, doing some chip damage. Nuclear comes out. All of Salty is still alive. He's out of heal 3s on his first Red Mage. His second Red Mage only has 1 heal 3 left. Opts to defense again. The Red Mage goes down before the heal 3 goes off. Salty only has 414 HP left on his fighter. Heal 2's coming out. Power bonk going up. This Chaos has not been friendly.
Yeah, and we don't know what kind of evasion this Chaos has. Salty does not have access to fast, so let's see here.
Chaos swinging and missing against the fighter twice. 2 hits for 144 damage. Power bonk coming back out. Chaos keeps swinging and missing. 2 hits, 263 damage. This Chaos sure does like to swing.
Yeah, which is fortunate for saltyphry.
He doesn't get a crit off. Swirl comes out. Elementalist damage. 321 damage on a crit. Salty is against the ropes. 427 damage comes out. Salty swings. Hits 522. Miss from Chaos. Miss from Chaos again. Hold A to win. 532 damage terminated. We have a winner. Get your GGs out in chat, folks.
saltyphry finishing with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 26 seconds.
What a finish. 61 health left on his fighter. Every last little bit of health from those levels paying off. He ground a fair amount, ground outside of Crescent Lake, took on some Agamas, took on a few extra I-fights, ground on Crescent Lake, even ground the mummies inside of the Northwest Castle. Finishes at level 25 or 26 and needed every last little bit of it to get out of the seat alive. GG, Salty. Let's see if we are going to get an interview here in a moment.
If you had given me a second to say something, I was about to drag Salty up. GG, Salty.
Thank you.
You had a handle on this seed from the beginning and you never let go. What is your first thought after that seed?
That ice cave was pretty rough, and I'm glad I bailed almost as quickly as I did from there.
When did you, we were having streaming issues for the first chunk of this race. When did you see what was in the ice cave? How deep were you into it?
I did not get very far in my first attempt. The first time I went there before Volcano. I mostly wiped on the first floor. I think I got to the second floor once or twice, but I ran into the images turning me into stone. The wizards were destroying me with their melees at that point in time, so very quickly I said, there's no way I'm getting through here, minus an insane amount of luck, so I went to Volcano and decided to level up at that point in time.
Well, Lord Fizzlebeef is in go mode. He is in the Sky Castle, floor 3, about ready to hit floor 4.
Lord Fizzlebeef has decided he's going to go ahead and call it, and I'm not sure if he's planning to join us or not, but it's one of those things. He's far enough back to where this is just kind of a pain, but he is going to join us in chat, so let me pull him up here. Lord Fizzlebeef, you have disappointed me for the last time. GG, man.
Fizzlebeef, calling Fizzlebeef. Check your mic check, please.
Mic should be on now.
All
right, GG, man, GG.
Yeah, that was a painful seed to go out on.
Yeah, I can only imagine that after getting the key, Salty went to Dwarf first, because seeing that Mazamune when I looped all the way around there, that would have just solved so much of my early routing problems.
Yeah, that is pretty much exactly what happened.
Between the early 47,000 in Corneria Castle and the Mazamune coming up in the first 10 minutes for for Salty, he had a couple troubles, but not nearly the amount of difficulty you did running through the place.
Yeah, I realized about halfway to Provoca that I forgot to check the Corneria key chests, because I think that's the first seed I've ever actually started with the key of all things. And by that point it was like, well, I can't go back because then it'll look bad and everything will just spiral from there. I'll be probably looping around anyway. It'll be fine. What are the chances that he did that?
I ended up going to Dwarf Cave mainly. I was thinking, I didn't actually save. I saved in Canaria, and I was thinking, I checked to see what was there, and figuring most likely there'd be nothing useful, but I was mainly thinking if the canoe's there, I don't want to have to backtrack to get it and then start heading around. So I figured I'd check what there is there, and then I found the Mazamune, the rod, and alright, I better keep this stuff and keep on going, so yeah.
Yeah, Lord Fizzlebeef, so, what happened in your first trip through Volcano? That was kind of in the middle of a lot of our technical difficulties, so we didn't really get a chance to get the full story there.
Right, so I hit Armory, and by the time I made it through Armory, my White Mage was down, and I didn't find what I was looking for, which was a good weapon. So I figured, at that point, I was on a fact-finding mission. I was just going to clear the chests out of Volcano, just to know if there are any other key items in there, or hope for a good weapon, and then hope that Carrie fell over of her own volition. It was a long shot, I admit, but that was 90% fact-finding mission and 10% actually trying to clear the dungeon.
Alright, I feel you. Let's see, I'm just trying to think of other notes. I actually came in a little bit late to this race, thanks to the aforementioned technical difficulties. So, I'm just trying to think of what parts that I saw. Y'all are free to chime in with things that occur to you while I'm thinking.
So, condolences to Lord Fizzlebeef. What do you have any thoughts on this general on your experience with the tournament thus far?
I feel like the shift from the much more predictable Swiss flags to the absolute utter chaos of the bracket flags was a little jarring, but I think that mainly comes down to my lack of practice and preparation more than a flaw in the tournament itself.
I tell you what, these bracket flags can go a lot of different directions. This particular seed played rather similarly to the Swiss flags because it was a volcano and ice cave starting seed, and that was really common in Swiss. But in general, these flags can point you in any number of directions. We've seen a seed or two where you're running around in the ship the whole game. That's really different. It used to be that the canoe was always in Crescent Lake. That's no longer the case. You can be canoeless for a long period of time. That really screws up with your routing.
That was pretty much our first race, I think. The canoe ended up being up in Sky Castle, so yeah, we were ship locked for pretty much the whole thing for the most part.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I'll say it again, having your first three items be canal and ship and oxyale is not something I had ever considered or prepared for before.
I'm not going to pretend like I prepared a whole lot for this. I just kind of roll with it for the most part, and I seem to do all right with it. Maybe my experience over time has helped pay off a little bit, and I can kind of adapt reasonably well to it. I did a few practice races. I wasn't like practicing a whole bunch leading up to this.
Sometimes some of these seeds are like everything that I've seen before. Other times I'm like I'm making routing decisions that I've never had to make before.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that myself.
Well, even in this one, what ended up happening, like I got the adamant when I was heading down in Sea Shrine. So at that point in time, I had the adamant and I had the TNT, and all I needed was the cube. So the possibility, like those were going to lead to either the cube, the tail, or the ruby. So I just kind of gambled the 2 of 3 chance that one of those two was going to lead to the cube, and I just basically stopped checking chests at that point in time, and sure enough, I don't remember which one it was, but one of them led me to the cube, which is basically what I wanted. I was hoping maybe to get the tail as well out of it all, but I wasn't really too worried about that.
Yeah, that was pretty much my thinking also coming out of C. If it wasn't for my absolute self-sabotage of an early game, I think we would have been even at that point.
Yeah.
You got flustered coming right out of diving Temple of Fiend Keylock a couple of times, and I think you just made a mental mistake after taking a couple wipes there that ended up putting you way behind.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those things, like, pretty much until Salty made it past Kraken 2, you were maybe a wipe and a half behind. Like, if Kraken 2 had been a little more of a gatekeeper, then this could have been a very even race.
I had a really close call getting out of Ice Cave there, because I didn't realize that, I don't remember which one it was, but one of them had the stone poison, which I didn't see before.
That was the Geists.
Yeah, and it got 2 of my 3 party members, the 1 managed to survive that. That was scary.
Oh, I could have sworn it was Images that had Stone Touch.
Yeah, no, Images had Stone Touch, but the guy said the Stone Poison.
Yeah, I knew about the Stone Touch going in there, and I was willing to kind of gamble that that wasn't going to take out all my party members once I got them leveled up reasonably high, but And next thing you know, I see the stone poison on my way out, and I'm like, oh boy, this could take up my whole party right then and there.
Yeah, I did like 3/4 of Ice Cave with a red mage and a white mage.
Yeah, you at least had that ribbon going through Ice Cave. I think Salty didn't pick it up until later.
Yeah, that was one thing I regretted when I finally got to make toys. I'm like, oh man, because I was like, well, I went there right after Ice because I got the crystal, right? And I see that ribbon, I'm like, oh man, I would have made Ice so much easier.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I mean, I've got pretty much nothing. I think Edge, and between you guys and Edge, we've pretty much hit all the things that I would have thought to ask about.
So, GG to Salty. You go on to face Broadster. Do you have any thoughts about that upcoming match?
It looks like it's going to be a tough match. He did a pretty good job on Split Punch, who I know is a pretty awesome runner, so I think I'm going to have to get lucky to get past this one, but anything can happen, so we'll see what happens.
Well, you deserve it for ruining my fantasy bracket. I'll put it that way.
Fizzlebeef, any thoughts?
Didn't even get to cast Exit on Chaos. 0 out of 10. Would not do again.
Sorry, man. We're still waiting for that first exit cast. Thank you, Wout, for stepping in to help out with commentary. Thank you, Yanni, for being for helping us restream in a jam. We were tracked by Poogle today. I'd like to give upcoming today. We have 2 more matches. Both are going to be on Speed Gaming 2. Up next, we have Red Dragon Bracket Game 2, Fuchsia Fantasy versus Edgeworth. Number 2, number 4 ranked players on Speed Runs Live. Edgeworth is up 1-0. Fuchsia Fantasy made a bit of a misplay. Let's see if they can come back and put together an excellent race. It should be a good one. After that, also on Speed Gaming 2, we have Arson Horse versus Ikbin Maya. Arson Horse has a 1-0 lead. Ikbin Maya has been putting together some interesting party compositions this tournament. Arson Horse, a bit of a dark horse, only has a few races logged on SRL, doesn't necessarily practice within the community, but quietly made his way to 4-1 through the Swiss stages and has a 1-0 lead over Ikbin Maya. 2 survival matches coming up. Stay tuned. It'll be up in 10 minutes. Well, the first will be up in 10 minutes. The second one will be immediately following the first race.
And sorry to interrupt, but if you're sick of Final Fantasy for today, feel free to stick around here on Randomania because we have the finals, I believe, of the Dragon Quest Super Famicom Tournament. Lavkin and Some Dean are facing off in a dragon looping mess.
Thanks to all of our runners. I am Edge Figaro, signing out.
Yeah, and this has been Woke. Take care, y'all.